Abigail Hernandez, Amanda Brucey, ANDSHA DVNSLEALOS. After 5 seasons apart, Ziva and Tony's Will They Want They romance came to an end when they were reunited in season 17 of NCIS. Although it never occurred on television, many expected to see a reunion between Tony and Ziva on NCIS. Tony learned that Ziva had a daughter with him before quitting the team, and she had staged her death to protect her family. Fans finally got the happy ending they had been waiting for when a letter mentioned the off-screen reunion between Tony and Ziva in Paris. After Ziva, Cote de Pablo, left NCIS, many fans were curious about what happened to her. They also wanted to see Tony, Michael Weatherly, and Ziva reunite, and season 17 of the show almost delivered on that wish. To the dismay of many, there wasn't anything to see throughout that season or the seasons that followed. Ziva David was an Israeli agent who was brought onto the NCIS team to serve as a liaison officer following Caitlin Todd's Sasha Alexander passing at the conclusion of season 2. But it wasn't until they went undercover as a couple in the 8th episode of the season that Tony Danazzo and Ziva's romance really took off. This started their TIVA, the fans' term for their Will They Want They relationship. Fans have been waiting a long time for NCIS season 17 to hint at the two's future together after years of uncertainty. This was almost not the case, though, since Ziva appeared to pass away at the conclusion of season 13. Ziva was thought to have died in a planned mortar explosion in the NCIS season 13 final. Even after their farewell kiss, Tony was unaware for a long time that she was still alive, even though it was eventually discovered. But NCIS season 17 offered a peek at how the two reconnected and their current activities. Since that, Weatherly and De Pablo have both left the long-running series. Was Ziva's death fake, and did Tony and Ziva end up together? In NCIS season 13, episode 23, Death Letter, Ziva staged her death. Tony later learned that the two had a daughter together, and he quit the team to care for her. This marked the final appearance on television for Michael Weatherly's Tony in the series. When Ziva revealed that she had survived the explosion and had staged her death in NCIS season 16, her followers were taken aback. Following her tenure as an NCIS agent, Ziva found herself practically living in hiding. Then, in NCIS season 17, she came back to ask Agent Gibbs for assistance. Eventually, Tony and Ziva got back together off-screen in Ephemera. Season 17, Episode 16. Tony, who was living in Paris with their daughter, Saharazam, the woman ordered to assassinate Ziva, finally died, and Tony felt it was safe to be with Ziva again. A letter mentioning Tony and Ziva's continued raising of their daughter Tali together while they were living in Paris made reference to the reunion. At last, both were able to establish a sense of normalcy and settle down in their lives. Sadly, no one was able to witness the Ziva and Tony NCIS reunion on the show itself. Nevertheless, the romance that fans had been waiting 15 seasons to see eventually materialized. Tony, who was living in Paris with their daughter, Saharazam, the woman ordered to assassinate Ziva, finally died, and Tony felt it was safe to be with Ziva again. A letter mentioning Tony and Ziva's continued raising of their daughter Tali together while they were living in Paris made reference to the reunion. At last, both were able to establish a sense of normalcy and settle down in their lives. Sadly, no one was able to witness the Ziva and Tony NCIS reunion on the show itself. Nevertheless, the romance that fans had been waiting 15 seasons to see eventually materialized. Why Ziva pretended to be dead within NCIS. To protect her family, Ziva staged her death and resigned from NCIS. She was the target of the bomb that was set off at her father's property. She pretended to be dead in order to distract her attacker and save her daughter. This was clarified in NCIS season 17 when Bishop visited Ziva's former office and encountered Odette, a former CIA instructor. Bishop approached Odette after realizing that the fabric was from Ziva's coat, and Odette revealed the truth. When the two discovered that Sahar was going to target Gibbs next, Adam did try to dissuade Ziva from leaving, but Ziva pretended to be dead in order to prioritize her family. Actress Cote de Pablo did not leave the series for that reason, however it could have been the reason the character left for 5 seasons. According to reports, De Pablo thought that Ziva's character had been robbed out of a compelling plot and left NCIS because of creative disputes. In response to questions, De Pablo said the following: "The Ziva and Tony NCIS conclusion was the joyful one that many fans have been waiting for since their romance bloomed, even though it took place off-screen."